Welcome to Module 2. I'm posting the announcements for Module 2 a little early because there's a possibility that this is going to take a little longer in terms of time on task, and I wanted to make sure that you had all of the information from me that you needed in order to do a thorough job with this particular module. In this module, you're going to be looking at some instructional strategies and actually applying them to your classroom. And so it is going to take time to plan a lesson and then execute that lesson and then do some reflecting on it. As you begin to think through the preparation for this module, kind of look at the tasks that are required. So you've got several things to read that are within the module itself, and then several things to do. So kind of notice that you will be going to Edutopia. You're going to be looking at particular instructional strategies. You're going to design and teach a lesson, incorporating that strategies, then respond to discussion board questions, and then finally you'll be submitting a lesson plan and a reflection. As you think through your approach to how to tackle this 2-week module, be sure that you're thinking about creating some space and time for the readings. It's very hard to balance your time, especially when you think about all the things that you're required to do at school, family time, just time for your own personal self, but kind of work in how can I get that time and space for doing the readings. Also, make sure that you carve out adequate time for viewing those websites that we talked about. You're gonna view the posted websites, but you're also going to be looking at a couple of new ones. So make sure that you've allowed yourself enough time for that. Remember that this module does require planning and teaching, so make sure that you have enough lead time to actually create a plan using the strategy you've chosen, actually teach the lesson using that strategy, and then doing some reflecting on that particular lesson that you delivered. Don't get too caught up in crafting something too huge here. Think about something that you're going to be doing anyway. Think about a lesson that you're going to be delivering coming up in the next week or so. Think about how you could incorporate a learning strategy, an instructional strategy that you have found, and then reflect on that lesson after you've taught it. Don't simply go out and try to invent something that you weren't going to do anyway. The purpose of this class really is to strengthen your ability to do your work in your own classroom, not to invent stuff just to get through the class. So make sure that you're using things that really are helpful to your own practice. Don't forget the discussion board, and remember, I'm really going to be vigilant about making sure that you respond to at least 2 other people. If you don't respond, we don't really have a discussion, and so it's really important to share with each other. And look at my final note there, that's keeping your sanity. So again, what I mentioned earlier, make sure that you don't make this more complex than necessary. And finally, be kind to yourself. Don't procrastinate. The longer you set things aside and try to do them last minute, the more frustrated and the more frantic you become. So try to avoid that. So again, let's look very carefully at the instructions around the discussion board. Make sure that you're posting a link to a future strategy. Share a strategy that is really working for you. What I want you to do then is point out the best elements of that strategy and share when and how you use it. And then, again, sharing something that you'd like to use in the future. And then post early enough that your peers can actually read your post and make responses. Um, Planning this out is tricky, but try to do it within the first week of the 2 week module, because I think that gives people a chance to read people's postings and find a couple of folks that they would like to make responses to. So that will help you. Finally, the assignment, you can see what it is. Use those reflection questions as your guide. Um, One of the things that we do not ever have time for as teachers is reflecting on our own practice. So take some time to do that, and that will be a real blessing to your craft. And then the 1,000 words, that's a guide, not an absolute. So please don't stress out about counting the words, and use, make sure that you have exactly 1,000. I don't count the words. I'm looking at for the quality of the submission, not the quantity. Hopefully this helps you guys navigate through Module 2. And if you have any questions at any time or need anything from me, please contact me and I will get you back an answer as quickly as possible. Have a great week, and we will be back in touch soon. Thanks.